Coming up, I run for my life.
Oh no, a savage dog is chasing me.
Do we have a healthy engine? No way. Who would have guessed?
Okay, something is wrong. Extremely wrong. Gamati. Feel free to scratch the paint. Yes, more problems. Nothing mechanical, nothing with the engine yet. It's the thing that Mitzi is standing on. It's the paint. You probably remember that the front bumper was very poorly repainted. It was very crispy, the paint was chipping off, so I took that along with the rear bumper and some other plastic bits to a paint shop to have all of that redone. And I specifically told them, you have to sand down the front bumper down to bare plastic because someone previously used some crappy sticky primer and the paint was just lifting off. The guy tried but couldn't do it because the sticky primer was tearing up the sand discs, and he just threw fresh primer over it. Of course, it started to lift the very next day. Then the guy got COVID. Then he had a 3-week-long vacation, so I had to take all of the parts to a different paint shop. I told him the same thing. The front bumper needs to be sanded down to bare plastic. 4 weeks later, they told me it can't be done. The bumper cannot be saved. You need to get a new one. First, I had to get a stock E65 LCI bumper, and I got one from Marian from Autoteile Goldstein. The link is in the description. Then you need to cut out the bottom part of the stock E65 bumper and then glue Alpina / spoiler thing to it. That's how Alpina bumper is made. 2 pieces glued together, which also meant that I had to buy a brand new lip. And I ordered a brand new Alpina lip from my local BMW dealership, the same one I've been using for years. They told me 450 euros and it's gonna take 3 to 4 days to deliver it. Okay. A week later, they told me we can't order the part because it's for China market only. I proceed and explain it's not. The car is US spec, which shouldn't matter anyway. And I even showed them the registration, that the car is registered here in Germany. And I was met with 9. The head office in Munich said the part cannot be ordered. Apparently, I need to go to China to order the bumper for this disobedient thing. Since I don't really speak Mandarin and China is a bit, far away, I reached out to Daniel from Autohaus Melkus in Dresden, and he was able to order one without any issues, and 5 days later I received it. At this point, it's been 8 weeks since I originally dropped off the parts with the first paint shop. Why am I telling you all of this? Well, I gotta paint you the whole picture so you can enjoy the journey just like I am. Now come inside. Let's see, come. What you looking at? You wanna fix the Alpina? Here's the freshly painted bumper, all glued together, and other painted trim over there. Hoi Muchi. And you're probably thinking, cool, it's reassembly time. No. First issue, since it was done locally, it was very expensive. 1,200 euros to paint 2 bumpers plus the trim. And of course, the quality is very poor. Lots of imperfections in the finish. Scratches in fresh paint. This was there when I went to pick it up. Here on the sides as well. So improper storage and handling. Then we have lots of dirt in the finish. You can see it right over there. That's specks of dirt. Same thing here. More scratches in fresh paint. The rear bumper was so bad that I actually refused to take it. It was full with imperfections. That's why it's not here. But none of that matters because this paint doesn't match the paint on the car. This is the paint code of the car, Schwarz 2 or Black 2 668. If you decode the VIN of the car, you will see the same thing. Schwarz 2 668 is a standard BMW paint, nothing special about it. Uni-black, plain deep black paint without metallic finish. And here's where the big problem lies. The paint on this car is not... That was a rabbit. Mutzi, get him! That's our dinner! Finding friends, huh? Where was I? The paint on this car, it's not Schwarz 2. If you come really close and focus on the paint, you can actually see some metallic flakes in the finish. So this paint, it's metallic. It's really difficult to show it on camera, so I'm gonna post some pictures. And this is where it becomes incredibly confusing and mysterious because the only 2 parts that were repainted on this car, the only 2 panels, are the hood and that rear left door. Everything else is in factory original paint. And when someone repainted those panels, they of course used the paint code of the car, which is Schwarz 2. And as a result, you can see clear as day that that door doesn't match with the front door or the quarter panel. Same goes with the hood.
I noticed this when I first got the car, but from afar it just looks like the old paint is a bit weathered and needs to be polished.
Now, before painting the bumpers, I did check if the old paint matches with the new one. And for that, I used the rear license plate holder, since it's plastic like bumpers. This is it. You can see the original VIN sticker over here. This is original paint. It was never painted, and the paint is Schwarz 2 668. There's no metallic finish in it whatsoever. And this matches with the new paint perfectly. If you look at the rest of the plastic trim on the car, like this trim piece here that goes across the trunk lid, or the Alpina spoiler, or this long trim piece that goes across the roof, all of this is finished in Schwarz 2. But every other metal part of the car isn't and has a metallic finish. The logical explanation, the whole car was repainted at one point. But remember, I said the entire car, minus the hood and the rear left door, is in original factory paint. It wasn't repainted. This is a paint thickness measuring device. An original BMW paint will read from 100, 140, 150 microns. Depending on the paint and model, it can go as high as 160, 170. But typically more than that means the panel has been repainted. Like this one here. 198. 199, 205. The hood, 217, 222, 227. Repainted. Front left door, 144, 143. Original paint. 113, original paint. 134. Then if we go to the quarter panel, 126, 116, 117, 130. If you look at the B-pillar when we open the doors, this is something that usually never gets repainted unless the car had a major accident. 107, 99, and the paint is always going to be thinner inside because they use a lot less of it than the door inside of it. 80, thin paint. 87, 78. And if you look inside every single nook and cranny, it's all metallic finish and certainly not Schwarz 2. 107. So all of this original paint. Under the hood you can see that the fenders were never repainted. There's no cutoff line. And if you look at the bolts, you can see that they don't have any tool marks, which means they were never off since the car left the factory. And every bolt is like that. No tool marks where the Torx bit goes in. Oh no, a savage dog is chasing me. Before you ask, no, it doesn't have some special Alpina paint. North American Alpina B7 doesn't have Alpina VIN, European ones do. They have E65 750i VIN and they came with standard 750i colors like Schwarz 2. The only one that was special was Alpina Blue, which this car clearly isn't. But there was another black paint option, Sapphire Metallic, and that also isn't it. The European plate holder that I bought was finished in Sapphire and it didn't match with anything on this car. It had way too many metallic pearls in the finish. So I removed the fuel tank door, which also measures as original paint and it has that stupid metallic finish. I took it to the paint shop so they can scan it and the computer can tell us the name of the color. It came up as a match to Honda Crystal Black. I shit you not. Then I went to the paint store to look at the paint samples and it doesn't match. Honda Crystal Black has way too many metallic pearls, much like Sapphire Black. Conclusion, I really don't know. If I could, I would rename this project to Project F***ery. Two possibilities in my mind. First, someone at some point stripped the entire car down to bare chassis, down to bare metal, and painted it to whatever color it is now. Highly unlikely, and it wouldn't make sense. Something like that would cost a fortune, and a repaint, typically you can spot it rather easily. like the hood or the door, and especially if someone paints inside of the car, the B-pillars, the door jambs, you're gonna be able to spot that super easily. Secondly, why would you go through all that trouble to paint the car to a paint that's slightly different than the original one? It just doesn't add up. Second possibility, mistake from the factory. Again, unlikely, but also possible. When they paint the car in the factory, they first paint the naked chassis, and then they install plastic bits like the rear spoiler, the plate holder, which would explain why those parts are in the correct Schwarz 2 paint. They were painted separately. Those are my two best guesses. But either way, it doesn't matter. What's important here is that at the end of the day, the car has matching paint all around. Which means I wasted a lot of money painting those bumpers, because now they need to be redone again, plus the hood, plus the door. So the car is going to Poland, to David and Arthur, the guys that fixed the E30, and I know they're going to do an exquisite job, and once they're finished with the car, it's going to have perfect paint all around. Maybe in the process they discover what's going on here. What happened with the paint. Anyway, I wanted to explain this in detail and just let you know that we're going to have more delays with this project. Now we're going to put the bumpers back on, go for a little drive, and then off to Poland Alpina goes.
First, we're going to replace the headlight washers that are not working properly. Here's a new one. Let's see if they're finally spraying properly. Oh, oh yes, finally working properly. Here's how Alpina bumper is glued together. You have to cut the stock bumper here all around, and then you have to use special bonding material that I got from the dealer to glue it together. And the guy actually did a really good job here. It all lines up and it fits perfectly. We need to replace this bracket here. Clips are broken. Schwarz 2 is about the worst paint a car can have because it is so soft. It is so easy to scratch it. The other two plastic trim pieces here, they're still with the paint shop. I refuse to take that as well because they were full of imperfections. I need to go later to pick up that and the rear bumper as well because they're not gonna paint them again. Look at that. Not even close. Completely different shade of black. It's almost purplish. This is a freshly painted trim piece, and look at the bumper. Completely different color. He used different color to paint the trim and the bumper. Unbelievable. That is hilarious. So there you go. Another problem with the local shop. It's part of cleaning. No! This plastic trim piece here, Real Oyen calls it trunculate grip. It's different on Euro and US spec cars. On Euro cars, this is wider for the bigger license plate. And on US spec cars, this is narrower. So I need to replace this. Brand new one, it's 163 euros, which is way too expensive. So I'm gonna try and find a used one in good condition. But that means for now, we can't install that thing. Let me show you what a typical paint job in Germany looks like. Not the cheapest one, not the high-end one, the middle one. This is the trim piece that goes on the bumper that I didn't accept. Bad prep work. Holes and imperfections everywhere. Dirt. Then the other piece, massive speck of dust over there, and you can't polish that out. And then here we have some weird stuff going on as well. Like, for the money, this is not acceptable. Absolutely not acceptable. See that? Those tiny holes, they go across half of the bumper. And you can see this clear as day when you mount it on the car. It just looks horrible. That's here. From there to about there. And then more stuff over here. See all of that? All of those dots and holes. Really bad prep work. And all of that is very, very noticeable. So I didn't accept this bumper. And this bumper is also painted in that weird purplish color. And I asked the guy about it. He told me he used the same paint for all of the parts, but obviously the rear bumper and the front bumper are completely different color than, say, this trim here that he painted, or the license plate holder. This is pure Schwarz black too, and the bumpers are not. So that's what you get for your money in Germany. 1,200 euros for this. And I know someone's gonna tell me go to a different paint shop. I tried so many of them and it's always the same story. I don't go to the cheapest one. I always try to find the middle ground. And for the money you would expect, it would be decent, but you can't even call this decent. It's just crap work. There's paint runs here as well. Look at that. And then here's some stuff going on as well. Just wasn't done properly. Needless to say, I'm done with local paint shops. Even if it's something as simple as a bumper, it's gonna go to Poland, I'm gonna ship it. I can't deal with this anymore. I'm done. Need to replace this bracket here as well. Mount the new one. It's ridiculous how different the color is. I don't know what the guy did. I asked him, did you use the same paint for everything? He said yes. Lies! Lies! Okay. Rear bumper reinstalled. Back to the sound system of this car. In the previous episode, we talked about this for a little bit, and we concluded that this Logic 7 amplifier is bad. The speakers were working, the radio was working, but the subwoofers didn't work at all. There was no bass. So I sent this Logic 7 amp and this ASK unit that lives in the front in the dashboard to a specialist in Czech Republic. He specializes in repairing these things, but besides repairing them, he can also upgrade the components inside, make them last a lot longer and also sound a lot better than they did from the factory. So that's what happened here. You can see that it says Logic 7 Jarax Sreten Nechroj Vubek Basi, which means this car is a piece of shit. So now we're gonna pop this in and see if the subwoofers are finally working. But if you're interested in this service, I'm gonna leave the contact details in the description. This was a temporary amp that I was using from Jarax. Entertainment. Oh! I can hear subwoofers. Yeah, the subwoofers are back. Oh wow! This thing sounds incredible! Okay, I can't play music obviously because copyright, but it sounds amazing! It never sounded this good before. It actually sounds better than the system in the E60, and that system is pretty good. So Jarax did tell me you're gonna be blown away by this sound system, and it's gonna be the best stock sound system that you heard in any car. And I think he might be right. I just need to get the CD inside or get the Bluetooth going. I sound like a pigeon! This is fantastic. Thank you very much, Jarax, and thank you very much the guy that I don't know your name. Jarax didn't tell me, but thank you very much. So we can button up everything in the trunk. That works. Come back later to vacuum all of this because the trunk is going to be full with parts that are going to Poland. Now I'm going to replace the ASK unit. Here's the refurbished unit. And this one doesn't have any scratches. I have a CD in it. Again, I can't play it on the video because copyright. But oh my God, what a sound system! Okay, this car doesn't have an option for Bluetooth. Oh, it has aux in, so I need to get the cable for it. But this is, and I'm not over-exaggerating, the best sound system I ever heard in a car. It is amazing, absolutely blown away. The clarity from the speakers, the bass, the surround system, the way you feel inside,
blown away. Just blown away. E65, what a car. What a car. If you own an E65 and you want really good sound system, get these 2 units refurbished by that guy in Czech Republic. Amazing. All right, that's another thing checked off the list. Few Eagle-eyed viewers noticed that this piece of the wood trim here doesn't sit right. This end here is smaller and that one bigger, and that's because this came from a right-hand drive car and they are different. And after lots and lots of searching, I finally found this correct piece for the left-hand drive car. So now we're gonna quickly swap it out. New piece installed, and that's looking much better. Finally, the license plates. I had to get a bit creative here. So we have E65B7, and since this is a brand new Alpina lip, I'm not gonna drill any holes in it. I'm gonna use double-sided sticky tape to put the plate up there. Try to get it somewhat in the middle. All right. And now the environmental sticker. Good. Let's go for a drive. Stress test time. We covered 1,170 kilometers since the engine rebuild, around that number. I've done wheel alignment because we changed the shocks, and I've done fresh oil and filter change. So we're ready to push the car to the limit. So I did drive the car a bit these past few days just to make sure everything feels okay. And I did push it, and I got 20 liters per 100 kilometers fuel consumption. It ain't fuel efficient, I can tell you that much. Oh no, the service is due. Forgot to reset that thing. This is the part of the restoration where I'm going to be paying attention to every single detail, how the car drives, if it's making some weird noise, if something is off. For example, I've been driving it for the last few days and I noticed that the rain sensor is acting up again. I have to remove this cover and push it in, so I need to replace that liquid that holds it in. I also noticed that there's a small steering wheel shake when I drive 90 kilometers per hour, and also under braking, which means the thrust arm bushings are shot. I didn't replace them because the control arm looked a bit newer, but now I know I need to do that as well. Other than that, everything feels fine. Here we go. German Autobahn. Foot to the floor. And we are off. The torque in this thing is absolutely amazing. To 80, to 90. Gotta slow down. Yeah, it'll definitely do 300. The torque, it is a torque monster. It has 700 newton meters of torque at 4,250 RPM. In comparison, E60 M5 has 520 newton meters of torque at 6,100 RPM. So when you kick down, when you do the full throttle thing, it just glues you to the seat and it just pulls and pulls and pulls. Phenomenal feeling. 500 horsepower. It is a quick thing. That said, at high speeds, it doesn't feel as stable as E60 M5. We did do shocks and it's much, much better now, but I can't believe I'm gonna say this, because I love soft suspension, but this car is a bit too soft. Alpina is supposed to be a blend between comfort and sport, and it does the comfort thing really good. This is extremely comfortable car. You can do 1,000 kilometers in one day in this car and not break a sweat. Because of the 21-inch wheels, you can feel some bigger potholes more than you should in a 7 Series. But other than that, on a bumpy road and just imperfections and stuff, it's really okay. It is a comfortable car. Sportiness, it's still a bit floaty at high speeds, especially when the Autobahn is uneven, you're switching lanes. It doesn't feel that firm. It needs Bilstein B6, but they never made that for this platform, unfortunately. I am kind of surprised Alpina didn't do more with the suspension other than just putting eyeball springs on it. The seats, they look like E60 M5 seats in Project Raleigh, but they're actually not the same. The design is the same, but these are slightly wider. So this is a couch, like a really comfortable couch. It's really well isolated apart the stupid sunroof. As always, I hate sunroofs because of that. But as a car, this is what a road trip car. What a road trip car. See the shift paddles. And that was half a throttle. The brakes, they are pretty good. These are 760i brakes. What was that? I can hear some noise. Okay, something is wrong. Extremely wrong. Where's the... I'm not gonna do more than 20. Can you hear that? Well, this is wonderful. Yesterday I did 200 kilometers with this car. I also pushed it really hard and it was perfectly fine. Now it's falling apart. Great. Great. Oh, let me just get off the Autobahn, please. Okay, I'm gonna chuck it into the corner. It sounds like one of the fender liners came off. Oh, there goes the GoPro. Perfect. Oh, I see! Oh, wonderful. Oh, brilliant. That's extremely good. We ripped the undercarriage off, pretty much. Do they have any tools here? Nope! The toolkit is incomplete. I have a complete one on the table over there, and I didn't put it in. Excellent. Hello, do you have a screwdriver? Additional good news, the left tire is done. It's too gross. Yeah, Unterschutz. Come on. Scheiße. Es ist egal. Vielen Dank. Sorry. Ciao. Another wonderful experience with Alpina. Look at my hands. They didn't have Phillips screwdriver, so I had to rip out the underbody protection. How the f did that come apart? So now I need fender liners, brake ducts, underbelly protection for the engine, new tires. Let's turn around and head back to the dojo. I quite honestly don't understand how it came apart, because I know this. I know you have to have all of the screws in, even the tiny ones, otherwise it's gonna fly off. And everything was in there. Ah, my hands. Hey, the temperature sensor is still working. And the engine is still working. I guess that's something. Good. There's blood on the steering wheel now. Okay, the engine is still working fine. He didn't cut any of the belts. See, I'm trying not to get the steering wheel dirty. Oh, there it goes. It's done. There's blood everywhere now. I really want to wash my hands. It doesn't matter. We'll have to clean you later anyway. Aerodynamics. It's not a joke. A normal person would now set this car on fire. Well, they would probably do that a long time ago. But not me. Still trying to fix it. And that was extremely dangerous, stopping on the Autobahn like that. On the bright side, there's no permanent damage. Everything is replaceable. So as soon as I replace those parts, we're back on the road. Yesterday I hit 280 as well, and all was well. I think time apart while the car is in Poland getting painted, it's gonna be good for us. It'll be good for our relationship. And here I was ready for a nice, relaxing drive. Nope. Instead I have cut fingers and I'm driving 120 and getting overtaken by stupid SUVs. And this is why it's very important to do stress testing before you take the car on a longer journey or even think about selling it. If this project wasn't as popular as it is,
I'd have to sell my kidneys now. But I mean, other than this destruction, the car feels good. Feels really good. You know we did well when there's blood on the steering wheel. Here's what's left of the engine underbody protection. This was a brand new part, bolts all around, and this brake that here failed, and it sent this thing into the tire over there. The tire is now done. It's slashed very deeply. I need new fender liners, the lower part of it, brake ducts. This piece of here brand new as well. This one is now broken as well, and this is broken as well. On the right side, it didn't hurt anything that's not replaceable. We only need new tires, and this time around I'm gonna match them with the rears. Rear is a Michelin Pilot Super Sport. They're around 270 euros per tire, so we need 2 of them, plus installation. The undercarriage, the panels, I think actually Alpina has a special one. This one here, I'm not sure if that can be still ordered and how much it is, but I have to look into that, but I expect another 500 euro there. And I still don't understand how it failed. Every bolt was in its place. 2 screws here, 4 in the back, and 2 on the sides over here. This was all firmly in place. But on the plus side, 0 oil leaks. Finally, it doesn't leak. Not even a tiny bit of oil anywhere. I replaced that power steering line. It's all nice and dry. Engine, it's bone dry. Rear main seal, all of that is dry. Transmission, dry as well. The diff, bone dry, no leaks, so I'm really happy about that. I talked to a friend about this, and he had the exact same thing happening on his car. There are 4 plastic rivets in the back holding the rear section of this panel, and apparently at high speed they tend to back out, and then this thing starts to flop around and then eventually just rips out. And I think that's exactly what happened here, because before crap hit the fan, I could hear it occasionally scrape, and then all of a sudden it just went boom. So we're gonna do the same thing that he did and put threads in the subframe, and instead of plastic rivets, we're gonna use bolts. I also found Alpina specific belly pan, which has additional cutout here for the air to flow. It's quite expensive, but we're gonna play it safe and order that. I also ordered 2 new tires. I couldn't find a Michelin Super Sport, and instead I went with Michelin Pilot 4S, 300 euro per tire. So once we fix all of this, Autobahn, here we come again. Now we're gonna remove all of the spark plugs, do a visual inspection of the cylinders, and do a compression test of the engine. And let's see if we can end this episode on a positive note. Here are the spark plugs, and they all look consistent, a bit yellowish tip, which means they're firing properly, and this is a good indication that the engine is working as it should and that it's healthy. Here's cylinder number 1, looks nice and clean, no scoring marks there. Cylinder number 2, looking good. Cylinder number 3, beautiful. Nice clean alu seal cylinder walls. Cylinder number 4, clean. This is the one that was heavily scored on the original engine. Not anymore. Cylinder number 5, cylinder number 6, nice and clean. 7, cylinder number 8, and the visual inspection passed. We have mint looking cylinder walls. Let's do the compression test now. To do the compression test, we're gonna pull the fuel pump fuse. Very important, otherwise we're gonna wash out the cylinders. Fuel pump fuse pulled. We'll also disconnect the injectors here. Compression tester. To test the compression, 6 to 8 cranks, maybe even 10, and also throttle wide open. So step on the gas pedal. 11 bar.
Can you tell that my mood is fixed and that I'm smiling? Why? Because we have healthy Alpina H1 engine and successful engine rebuild. No scored cylinders whatsoever, and we have consistent compression across all 8 cylinders, around 11 bar, which is exactly what you want to see on this engine. It's gonna work smooth and nice, and it's gonna make proper power as well. Really, really happy with that. I had to do this test just to make sure everything is in order before I even think to sell this car to someone else. The engine has to be 101% perfect. So in the next episode, we'll also take it to dyno, see what kind of power it's making. And I think it's gonna need a tune because it currently has tune for the US market, which has a bit crappier fuel than here. And then we'll take it from there. Anyway, I'm really, really happy now. So I'm gonna put everything back together and start it. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Happy ending to the episode after all, and finally going foot to the floor with this thing. The car feels absolutely amazing and I can't wait to put more kilometers on it and to start enjoying it properly. It's been a very long journey. At this point, the car is going off to Poland to Arthur and David. They're going to try and match mismatched body panels, and if they can't do that, then they're gonna paint the entire thing. I don't care anymore. We need to finish this project properly and it has to be one color. In other news, recently I received a phone call from Andreas Bovenzippen, the CEO of Alpina, the boss of Alpina. Super nice person. We had a pleasant conversation and he saw the videos, what was happening with the car, and they want to get involved and help out with the project. He offered me a free engine rebuild, which is incredibly generous. Right now we're good in that department, but they are going to try and help me with the underbody panels and maybe supply me with those parts, which would be really nice. He also invited me to visit Alpina, see their facilities, tour the workshop, and I think we'll do that in the final episode, take Alpina back to Alpina. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to film all of that, but it should make for one nice experience. It's also nice to see that they care. I think initially when I reached out, I just didn't get through to the right person, but Andreas, he obviously cares about his customers and his old cars, so thank you for that. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that, and I'll see you soon. The next episode is going to be on the X5. We're doing valve stem seals. Ciao!